Welcome to another episode of Life Bloom. Let's talk about it. What do we want to talk about today? It's about your community, about my community. How do we build a community around us? For those that have been, you know, tagging along with me on this journey on Life Bloom, you all know that our support system is key to healing. That's one of our major thing that we really stressed on Life Bloom. Our support system is key. But how do we get to build this support system? How do we build our community? How does this community becomes our support system eventually? Because guess what? We're not an island and we shouldn't be doing life by ourselves. If you see someone doing life by themselves, they have a big problem and they need to fix it. Even God, when God created us, He didn't create us to live and do life alone. I'm sure we all know in the Bible, God wants us to fellowship. He wants us to, love each other. He wants us to build family, to build community. And I'm sure that I've never read Quran before, but I'm sure that there's something about community, fellowshipping together that will also be talked about in the Quran. So how do we build this community? What is the importance of community in the place of healing? When you're dealing with any medical challenge, be it endometriosis, PCOS, fibroid, cancer, whatever the health issue is, we need a support system. And like I've said on this platform, support systems don't just show up because we need them. They show up because before we got into our health issue, we have spent time investing and building community around us. And if you have not done that, I want to encourage you to start to do that. Start to look into building trusted friendship, godly friendship, people that you can build around you that will be community and eventually become your support system. But guess what? It's not only friends. What about your family? What about your church members? What about you can build community anywhere you are? So I want us, this and many more are what we're going to be talking about throughout this month of August. Because this month of August, we want to dedicate it to building community. And we're now going to be talking about how those communities affect our healing journey, how they affect our relationships, how they affect our finances, how they affect our wholeness. Because guess what? One of our mission at Life Bloom is empowering every woman to live an holistic life and to live a very positive, enjoyable life. As women, whether young or old, we wear so many hats. And so there comes a time in our lives that we need to begin to look out for our health, to begin to look out for our well-being, to begin to look out for how we can live a very fruitful, productive life. And to be honest with you, we can do that. We can live a fruitful and productive life without our community. I grew up in a generation that would say that, it's one person that gives birth to a child, but the whole community or the whole village raised the child. That is the generation I grew up in. And so I can boldly say today that I'm not just a product of my parents. I'm a product of many people that have taken time and sacrifice to pour into my life. And I'm still growing. And people are still pouring into me. And I've learned to pay it forward by also being there and pouring into other people's life. So again, these and many more are what we're going to be talking about in this month of August? How strong is your community? How are you building your community? Do you even have a community? Who are the community? And if we have a community, do we have to have a boundary? Is boundary necessary? How does our community then translate to our support system later in life or when we have medical issues? We don't have to wait when we are facing trouble or facing challenges before we begin to look for people that will support us. That is doing it the wrong way. So I'm not here to prophesy that, oh, you're going to have medical challenge or things are going to be bad. That's not what we're saying. But we're saying that it's always better to have community. Even if they're not community that maybe they will be there for you later in life. Community to grow together. Community that helps you to flourish. Community that helps you to fulfill destiny. Community that helps you to achieve that which God wants you to achieve. Because guess what? Whatever it is that God has put in your hands, you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. You need people around you. And so, how are you taking your time prayerfully to build this community? Because guess what? There's a saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go with your community. Again, who are your community? And how are you building your community? Enjoy and have a blessed one.